All right, welcome. Hey, Thursday night with special limited edition, whatever you want to call it here, of the
Late run.
Let them run podcast on Thursday night. Which is usually when the story comes out anyway. So if you've been kind of watching that on the thing, reading it, you would know that. So
Yeah, yeah.
Fred, how's it going over there?
Going good, Sean. Definitely fun. A little different doing it this evening. I'm looking forward to running through these races tonight. Normally, as you had mentioned, we do this on a Saturday morning. And one of the reasons you and I have talked about this often, Sean, about why we like doing it is because the scratches come out and then we do our show and it makes a little difference. So tonight might be a little different, which is great. It's cool. We have the opportunity to look at all the horses, and certainly Saturday morning, I'll certainly make some changes if needed, because sometimes when scratches happen, Sean, you know that there can be big changes in the way the races are run. Right, Sean?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it changes. It changes the field. It changes the posts. It changes the positions.
Big time.
It changes the speed in the race. It changes the whole outlook of the way the race is run. You take a little bit of speed out, or you take a little bit of something, the stalking out, whatever. I mean,
Changes everything. Good.
Yeah, yep. So make sure you tune in, or check in on Rant Sports, and we will be soon. I believe tomorrow we might be up on sportstalknyfan.com.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll
Yes.
be all over the place.
Way to go,
And,
Sean.
What do we?
I like that, Sean. I like that.
We have some. What do we have? Some special viewers tonight. There, Fred.
Well, I want to give a little shout out to my friends at the Ancient Order of Hibernians who have indicated to me they might be putting this on the TV there to check out. There you go. And that's the reason, Sean. That's the reason why we're here tonight. Saturday, March 8th, is the annual event, one of the biggest events in Mercer County, Hamilton Township, the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade. Many people involved in making that just a huge success. And as a marshal, I'm one of about 20, 25 marshals taken care of and run by the marshals are handled by Mr. Tom Beers. Maybe he's watching tonight. But we get out there, Sean, at about 9 a.m. and we start putting things together, getting the place organized in terms of where people go. We have lots of vendors and pipe bands and marchers and different folks who come in. So it's a fun time. And that's why we're here tonight, because 9 a.m. I am going to be over at the Nottingham Firehouse preparing for the big day on Saturday, which is a great day. It looks like it's going to be sunny, dry, a little chilly, Sean, but hey, we've done it before when it's been rainy. We've done it before when it's been cold. There's been snow sometimes, so it's going to be great, Sean. But it's awesome to be here tonight. So hi to my Hibos fans, if you're out there. Where Let 'Em Run actually started, Sean. We talked about that. The Let 'Em Run started at the Ancient Order of Hibernians with lots of horse races being viewed there in the club.
And then, the Kentucky Derby show we had last year.
Yes.
So that was massive.
That was huge. That was huge. People loved it. They
weather.
enjoyed
All
it.
I know is Saturday the clocks go back. The clocks go forward.
Oh,
day of the year, 2 more days, and then next week we're going to be close to 70 on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah,
so
I saw that. That's awesome. I love
even
that.
wait.
Let's do it, man.
That's correct. So right now we're going to look at. We go back the Gulfstream now. The pick 5 is race 7 through 11 against. It's a little bit earlier. It's not, it's 3:51 post time.
Right.
And then obviously the Tampa Bay Derby race 11, which is a prep race. But we're not, the last couple of weeks it's been, those kind of later races, so we get a little bit earlier. We start off race 7, 3:51 Eastern time, dirt 1 mile, optional claiming 25,000. I know you are big Safi Joseph fan, and we talk about him every week. And I right off the bat, we see something with Safi Joseph. So talk about this race.
Yeah, he's got two entries in this race, and two of his go-to riders are riding, Luis Saez and Zayas. I like the two a lot here. Here's the kicker. Um, he gave the mount. He gave the mount to Saez, so I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But traditionally, his go-to rider is Zayas, and that's not a bad thing. He's stretching out this horse. He's stretching out from 7 furlongs to a mile. 7 furlongs was a one-turn race, one back. He ran well in that race. Just came in second. If you look at 3 races back, he broke his maiden with Zayas on him, which is surprising that he didn't put him back on. He got bumped at the start a little bit, and he won by 10 lengths, at a 6.5 furlong race, and put up an 80 Beyer speed figure, which is pretty darn good Beyer speed for a race of this caliber. Optional claiming 25. All the races in this pick 5 sequence are what we call lower level claiming type races, except for the Hurricane Birdie, which is the only stakes race. We'll cover that as well. But I also like the number 5, Big Pond. That's the horse that Castellano is riding for Bill Mott, one of the best trainers, obviously, in Gulfstream Park and around the country. This horse, I like to say this horse is now back with his friends. I mean, look at the races he's raced in a couple back. Grade 2, Grade 3, Grade 1. His last race out was his first race, in about 8 months. He ran at Gulfstream Park for the first time. Didn't run really very well. It stayed off the pace and it didn't look good. So the second time with some horses that I think he fits very well with at a low price. Those horses are going to be favored, but I really like that horse a lot. I also like as a long shot in this race, not really a terrible long shot. When I looked at the races before I knew the odds, I thought he might be a little bit more than 4-1, but he's 4-1. He's coming in from Tampa. Todd Pletcher puts Johnny V on him, and Todd Pletcher puts Johnny V on a horse. That usually means something's going on. He is stretching out. Todd Pletcher's 26% with the horse going a route race for the first time. So, those are the horses I like in this race.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the race 7 here now. You talk about the odds. I mean, it's basically 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 7-2, 4-1, 5-1, 8-1. So obviously I don't want to say there's not a lot of value here, because even the favorite is probably going to go up at 2-1 or 3-1. I mean, you're going to get decent value for years. The other thing that you wrote about Safi Joseph, his go-to rider, Zayas, is on the 6 Silver Moonlight, which is interesting to me. It's his main guy is on the 6. Did you kind of take that into consideration at all a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that horse has some speed. He's dropping in class. I don't think the 6 post is a big deal in a race like this because it's a small field. It's kind of an interesting race. I went with who I thought was the best based on the other factors that I looked at. Again, Zayas Safi Joseph putting Zayas on the 6 definitely is a factor. The other weird thing to note in this race is the number 1 horse, Cruz de Catalino, 8-1 with Junior Alvarado riding for Riley Mott, who is the son, the trainer, the son of Bill Mott. And Bill Mott has the 5 horse, and he didn't put Alvarado on him, he put Castellano on. So there's a lot of musical chairs going on with these jockeys. So it really makes it a little more difficult. And that's what happens a lot in claiming races. Again, optional claiming 25 is a low level claiming race at Gulfstream Park. So, in a race like a Grade 1 race, you're not going to see musical chairs with the jockeys. The trainers are going to put the jockey on who they like. So I really am somewhat, a little bit of a head scratcher, but those are the horses I went with in that race, Sean.
Race 8, 4:21 Eastern time. Turf 1 in 116. miles. Optional claiming 75,000. So we jump up a little bit in class here. $96,000 purse. I see some. There's first of all, there's more horses in this race. It looks like there's before scratches. There's 10 horses.
10 horses right now in the body. Yep, that's a big field. That's a pretty decent field for a race of this caliber. Yep.
And the second thing I noticed is 7 of the horses have 10-1 odds or greater, and then 3 of the horses, which I think you're going to talk about a couple of them maybe here.
Oh yeah, I got something to say about one horse.
At least 2 of them are, 2-1, 9-2, 5-2. So there's going to be some heavy money coming in on the 3 horses, the 2, the 3, and the 6, and then everyone else is kind of, you see them like kind of drifting out with, kind of the opposite of the last race. So, you want to talk, I see the 2 that you're talking about right away. So go ahead with those.
Yeah, the number 6 Rare Art. He's coming down from north to race the last couple of races at Aqueduct and Saratoga. Put up a huge race last out, just missed by a nose with Dylan Davis on him. He's got a little bit of a layoff, but he's been working on the comeback. He's getting Lasix for the first time, and he gets Johnny Velasquez. Dutro is a north trains a lot of horses in Aqueduct and Saratoga, but he often ships horses down to Gulfstream if he thinks they got a good shot to win. And that horse, again, just lost by a nose last out, and a tough race, a race that certainly is a higher quality race. And this was a stakes race at this distance. It was a while back in October, but this horse I think is ready to run. And a 2-1, he's taking a class drop, and I really like him a lot. The other horse is the number 5, Flip Flops. Interesting that Saez got off the 4 horse. That horse won last time out very impressively, kind of going wire to wire from the rail with the big field. But Saez gets off that horse and jumps on the 5 horse Flip Flops. He also just lost barely last time out in Tampa. And if you watch the replay of that race, you'll see that in the stretch, he ran into a wall of horses, Sean, and it just tried to find a place to go, just couldn't do it, and just still, just lost by a neck. Again, in a race like this, I think horses are going to be looking to close. There is some speed in the race, like I mentioned. Now, if I may divest and diverge and change the topic a little bit to this number 1 horse. I love horses like this. He's 30-1 morning line. I know he probably doesn't have much of a chance, but they're putting one of the best speed jockeys on this horse. And I know some people, if you're watching at the Hybos, know how speed can be a big factor. Jaramillo, his last name should be Speed. He knows how to take a horse and take him to the wire. This horse ran in a grade 3 race on dirt last out. Don't know why he was in that race. Edward Coletti, not the best known, well-known name trainer in Gulfstream Park or anywhere. He lost to a horse, Queen's MG. It's one of the top sprinters, again, a 7 furlong, the sprinter race, one of the top sprinters in the country. Don't know why he was in that race. This horse does possess some speed. He's getting Lasix for the first time. He's got the rail. I mean, he's got one of the best speed jockeys on, and he also has very good breeding for turf, so he's not out of his element on turf, and he also has the best Tomlinson for distance on turf. So if Jaramillo can get this horse out and get him out, who knows what can happen? It's a long shot. It's a flyer, but I'm interested to see how this race runs. Probably going to be my most favorite race to watch, Sean.
Just quickly, say I wanted to do a $20 show bet on the 1, by the time the race goes off, he's probably going to drift a little bit out even more, you'd think, right? If he's already 30.
Very likely. He's not going to get bet. I guarantee he's not going to get bet. I mean, the horses that are going to get bet, the horses we mentioned. We didn't even mention the 2 Origami, Ireland bred horse being ridden by Castellano. That horse is going to get bet. So, yeah. So he's liable to drift up to, who knows, 40 to 51. I think you'll get a thrill if he gets out of the gate. The only way he's going to win is if he goes out and tries to run everybody off their feet. And again, I mean, the 4 is probably going to go with him. He has some speed. It's really the only horse, maybe the might go with him too. But if he gets out and gets a little brave, and Jerry Miller's going to push him, trust me, there's no way that Jerry Miller's going to do anything other than when the gates open, just say go and see what happens. And who knows? So that's a fun race to watch.
Maybe he holds on for third. Maybe that show bet pays a little bit. Maybe
that's the hope. That's the hope. And if any of the other favorites run out, Sean, then that could be a pretty decent payout for a $20 show bet. And I know there's a lot of guys I bet with who love doing show bets like that for themselves. So we'll see what happens, Sean. It's a good race.
Race 9, 452 Eastern Dirt, 7 furlongs, optional, claiming $20,000. The not a sprint, not a route distance makes it interesting.
Well, we always talk about that. Sean, right?
Yeah. It's in the middle. It's in the middle, and it's you got horses that are kind of trying to figure out where they're supposed to be, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. You talk to any handicappers who know what happens in the 7 furlong race. You don't know how it's going to end up in terms of your horse. Some horses are made for 7 furlongs. You look at the horses in this race. At 7 furlongs, all of them have won once. Nobody's won a lot of times. So you got to look and see which horse might benefit from either the pace, the jockey, or the distance. But I mean, that's why I fell on the number 8 horse, Emirates. 5-2. Paco Lopez getting the ride in 7 furlongs. I think if you have an outside post, and when I say outside, I mean not crazy outside. The eight post, not crazy outside. He can watch and see how things are going to go in front of him. Paco Lopez, very good jockey. He's got the number 1 prime power. And when Paco Lopez and Robert Moscow team up, they win at a 36% rate at Gulfstream Park. So that's pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's a big number right there. I mean, that's one out of more than one out of every 3 races.
Absolutely. And that's why, like we mentioned, what are you going to look for in a race where you're not trying to see who's a specialist at 7 furlongs? Well, the jockey knows how to ride him. I love the 8 post, and I think that's why I give him an edge. I mean, the number 3 horse, Timely Reward, with Zayas and Joseph Safi, okay? Once again, they're getting together, so something's good there. This horse last out at 7 furlongs, got beat by the favorite, or the horse I like, Emirates Affair. Didn't run a really good race. I think the jockey, I'm not going to say he made a mistake, but he made this horse stalk the pace, which is not his style. You look at the race 2 back, he, tried to blow the field away. Didn't run tremendous times, 25-second quarter, 48-second half, but then he kept picking up and ran some nice times at the end of the race. But he won by 10 lengths, and he was ridden out at the end. So I think you're going to see this horse have a little better race, the number 3, Timely Reward. Another horse that I like is the second Joseph Safi horse, the number 7, Amy the Butcher. Horse has won 3 times at Gulfstream Park. So, there's some horses that have won more than that. But this horse has won 3 times at Gulfstream Park. 3 back, he won at 7 furlongs when he did stalk the pace and made a really nice closing race, closing kick with, before Zayas was on him. Picks up Gonzalez, who's not a bad jockey. But what's interesting about this race, Sean, and we talk about what key races are. A key race is when a horse who is in the race that this horse is currently in won the last time out. If you look at this race, the first, second, and third place horses all won next time out. And this horse came in 5th, finished 13 lengths back, pretty far back. But that means he ran against 3 horses that won next out. Those horses are sitting on big races. So you look at some other horses in that race who didn't win that race to win next out. And that's why I like that horse, Sean.
The Under the Helmet podcast. What's up, guys? Yo, keep up the good content as always. Under the Helmet.
I love that. Under the Helmet guys are great. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. We love it. You guys are the best.
Thank you so much. Yeah, definitely. We appreciate it. Thanks for listening and watching this special show. Now, this next race, we talk about, distances and stuff. This is a new one for me. Race 10, 523, 6.5 furlongs. So not 6, not 5, not 7, but 6.5 furlongs. It's a grade 3 race, which means
Big
you know,
stakes
there's
race,
some money up. There's some money up for grabs here. The Hurricane Birdie Stakes. So you know, what do you, the owner, the 62% of the purse should be paid to the owner of the winner. 165,000. So big money if you win this race here for the Phillies. And
It's a big
it
race,
looks like
and 6.5 furlongs. When you mentioned that, Sean, that's they call it like an elongated sprint because again, 5, 5.5, 6 clear sprints, 6.5, an elongated sprint, 7 furlongs, whatever. But it's a good race. Talking about our man Safi Joseph, he has 3 horses in this race, Sean. Not 1, not 2, tree, as they say on The Sopranos. Tree. He has 3 horses. So
I need about
who are we
350.
going to go with? That too. So who are we going to go with here? A horse, Sean, I know we've talked about this horse on our podcast several times. It was actually a lookout bet once or twice, at least once for sure. That's Nick's Style, ridden by Alvarado, trained by Mott. I don't look at him in this race as a clear, absolute dead favorite where, okay, there's nobody else in this race that can win. But I just certainly think he's the class of the field. He's raced 7 times. He's won 6 times. He's getting the Mott Alvarado package together once again. I think he's going to be tough to beat. I mean, he's looking for 4 in a row. He's looking for 7 out of 8 wins. Probably going to be tough to beat. So he's going to get a lookout again. And he's going to be low. He's 9-5. Probably going to be bet down from that. There's a couple other good horses in this race, Sean. I like the 4 a lot. The other Safi, well, one of the other Safis. There's 3 in this race. The other Safi Joseph horse, Our Disaster, being ridden by his go-to rider, Zayas.
Yes.
So, he's putting Zayas on this horse for a reason. It's his first time at 6.5 furlongs. This horse has speed. He might not be the only speed in the race. The 7 horse has some speed, done enough. Paco Lopez is riding him, and he's going to be aggressive. He ain't going to sit back and say, yeah, you go ahead and I'll follow you around. He's going to go with him. But I just think Zayas is a good jockey. His U.S. Time Form early pace is the best in the field. I think he's got a good chance, and I like his price at 9-2. If he stays at 9-2, it's going to be a big chance to win. So that's the 2 horses I'm looking at. I am leaning a little bit more towards, the 4 horse Our Disaster. I mean, at some point, maybe Nick Styles going to take a step backwards. He is kind of a closer. He can show speed as he did in his early races. He's taken more to a stalking closing style now, and Alvarado knows that well. So again, it's going to be a great race, Sean.
Yeah, if Our Disaster gets out, I know reading your notes here. If Our Disaster gets a clean break, it's going to be tough to catch that horse, it looks like, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's stepping up in class a little bit. I mean, optional claiming 25 going into a grade 3. Yeah, that's a little bit of a step up. But he raced in a small stakes race 2 back. It was the race he won last. That was a race where there was a next out winner, if you will, is what we call.
I gotta correct you on something here. These are all fillies and mares, correct?
These are all fillies and mares. What did I say?
You have to use appropriate pronouns here. I know what Trump was talking. There's only easy. 2 pronouns here. So you got to use. I don't want the horse to be offended by if the horse is listening and you call her a he, she might get offended and start getting all upset. So we got to use appropriate.
Or I could just say the horse.
Yes, the horse. Yeah.
The horse. But this race, the race that our Disaster she's in is a key race, and the horse that I talked about with the other speed is done enough. So she already beat Done Enough in last race. So I think that gives another edge to Our Disaster, in my opinion. So I like that horse a lot. Nick Style, class of the field, tough to beat. But I'm gonna take a shot with our Disaster in a lot of ways. So that's my look on that race. She has a good chance to win.
She definitely does. Race 11, 552 Eastern Turf, 1 1/16, optional claiming $35,000. What's the SAL again?
Well, that has to do with the allowance in terms of when they're talking about being claimed or not being claimed. What's interesting in this race, no horse is up for claim. And I don't know exactly why that is. I don't have enough insight. I mean, as time goes on, I may learn a little bit more about that. But has to do with whether or not they won a maiden and whether it was for 35,000 or less.
Yeah.
Lots of elements go into the conditions of the races, and trainers and owners not as much, but trainers especially know when they're entering a horse into a race based on the conditions they really believe that they have a good chance to win. And you know, this race has a big field. Yeah, another race that has 11. I think it's 11 and one also eligible. No, sorry, 12
like
and one also eligible.
Yeah, the 12 and then the one else. It's 13 horses got in, I think, right?
Well, 12 that are in the field. The 13 horses and also eligible. So hold and get in if somebody scratches. But
yeah.
Even with a couple scratches, it's still going to be a big field. I probably like this horse that I'm going to talk about now is one of my best picks and my best looks for this race. And that is the number 6 horse, Hall Monitor. I don't know if you ever had Hall monitors when you were in school, Sean. They were
Our
never.
Guy, our guy at the High Bows, Johnny Stale, Johnny, right? Wasn't he home?
He's a Hall monitor in Nottingham. Yes, he was.
He was a guy.
I'm sure those kids in Nottingham knew him well.
Yes.
Maybe Johnny's at the High Boats tonight. If you're at the High Boats tonight, John, here's a shout out to you.
There you go. Every time I showed up to the basketball game, hey, Shawnee Miller.
Oh, is that right? Really?
How's it going? Yeah, man. Oh, the best.
Johnny's a great guy. Great member of the High Bros, and does a lot there.
We were just very quickly. I was over at a Cramden shop over there, Batoni Jewelers in Robbinsville, Denny, and Denny and Fauci. So when I used to umpire Little League Baseball, I used to umpire at Nottingham, but then
I didn't know that. Oh wow.
I umpired when I umpired a district final, a 10-year-old district final. I was the home plate umpire with Curtis Wires and Paul Kersey and a couple other people at 18 years old. I was 18 doing the final. But I used to umpire out of Chambersburg.
You grew up fast, yeah.
Yeah. So like I used to umpire out of Chambersburg, and we were talking about the time. All that they would sit upstairs and have the meetings and stuff, and I would go up there because it was Rob Riley and me. And I was talking about the time I had 5 games, 2 at Chambersburg and with Tim Chenal and 3 at Nottingham. It was 8 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then 2, 4, and 6 at Nottingham. And
oh my gosh, one day,
5 minutes into the first game, 8:05 in the morning of my 5th game, Fauci comes out and starts arguing with me about some infield fly, and I'm like Fauci, come on, man. It's first inning. It's first inning. He's arguing. I'm like, Fauci, I have 5 games today. Please, just go back in the dugout. Please. I have 5 games today. Just go arguing. Fauci,
this is your first game at Chambersburg. Chambersburg. Your first game that morning.
It was the first game. It was the first of 5 games I had to do.
At Chambersburg.
Yeah, I never even raised my voice. I'm like, Fauci, you're gone. I didn't even raise my voice. I'm like, Fauci, you're gone. 5 minutes into the game, right? And he's sitting upstairs. And then, a couple years later, 20 years later, I'm on the staff at Trenton Catholic baskamball and soccer. So
bringing back old memories.
We were talking about all those guys. We were talking about sitting upstairs at Chambersburg in the meetings when, they would say, they would go order the pizza and stuff like this. So, but I know
in Chambersburg, you're going to order pizza.
Johnny was obviously one of those guys down there.
That's good stuff. That's
But
good stuff.
yeah,
So
Hall Monitor.
in this race, the 6 Hall Monitor. Look at what he did. His first time out, a mile and 16th, he won kind of easily, even after getting bumped at the start. And again, Christophe Clement is putting his horse back out to run again. He's
Yep.
working out well for the return. And most horses improve second time out. But he won first. It's very difficult to win first time out at a mile and 16th. And what's even more interesting about that horse, and probably because of Martin Alvarado, he was favored in a big field. There were 8 horses in the field. He was favored, and he was ridden. He was in Tampa by Sammy Camacho. No offense to Sammy Camacho, one of the better jockeys at Tampa Bay, but now you're putting Alvarado on a horse that won impressively first out. He's 6-1 more line. I guarantee that horse will not be 6-1 as the post time approaches. I really don't believe that at all. If he is, I would definitely be looking at that.
He's third choice right now. That's
like you said, it's his first. It's his first time with winners. A horse's first time with winners is often difficult, but a horse's second time out is often a nice time for more improvement. And again, you're getting Alvarado on that horse. Alvarado's riding lights out at Gulfstream Park. He times so many races. If you watch him often enough, he just wins races because he times it out and closes exactly when he needs to close. And 9 out of 10 times, he will get his horse to the wire before any other horse. Occasionally, he might miss a little bit, but not very often, not very much. So I really am on that horse there. And the other horse I'm looking at too is the 5. I'm due. Kent Sweezy and Paco Lopez win 45% of their races when they're together. That's a pretty good number too, right, Sean?
That's a monster.
I'll take 45% of anything. Exactly. And he's getting blinkers on. Kent Sweezy's putting blinkers on. That's another good thing. He's also #1 prime power, which again, I always kind of take a look at that and see what that has to offer. But I think those 2 horses have a good chance. A long shot that I'm looking at, Sean, which again, for the reason that I like often is because of speed. And I know if Mark DiLiberto is watching this, he'll know what this is all about. Because Jaramillo is on this horse.
Emissaio Jaramillo, the speed jockey. Here he is again.
Oh, yeah. He's like Mario Andretti of horse racing. I mean, he gets behind the wheel. He's just going to hit the gas and go. This horse had his head turned last time out. If you watch the replay, he didn't kind of get out as quickly as you would like. But he's still – finished strong, but lost a little bit because he got out. And that was his first race for winners. It took him a long time to break his maiden. He broke his maiden in his 10th race. And his first time out with winners, he had his head turned. Maybe he was looking at people, the horses around him, and wanted to see what was going on. But if he gets a clean break here and Jaramillo gets another chance, this horse has a much bigger chance than the horse I talked about in the previous race that was 30-1. This horse is going off 8-1. He's going to get the lead. I like him as a long shot, or at least to have be a factor in the race as it goes on. So, I like that horse a lot, Sean.
So that's the end of the pick 5 there at Gulfstream. So a couple minutes earlier than that race 11, we shift to Tampa Bay Derby race 11, which is at 5:34. I'm going to try to get the pick here. This is a big prep race. Let's pull it up here. Tampa Bay Down Stakes, $400,000 purse, 1 1/16 miles. There's some 7 horses. It looks like right now. Obviously, you're going to talk about Patch Adams, I think, because he's pretty good. There's some Chancer McPatrick, Owen Almighty, Hill Road, Brodeur, Filoso, Naughty Rascal. There's some pretty decent horses in this race. It's once again smaller field. It's a small but intriguing field, you say, with some high quality horses.
Well, they're here for a reason, Sean. Essentially, this is the only Derby prep race this weekend in the country. So
Yeah.
all eyes will be on this race to see who essentially gets what we would call a win and you're in situation with 50 Derby points going to the winner. There's no doubt that the number 2, Chancellor McPatrick, who's one of 2 runners, entered by Chad Brown. If you look at the statistics on Chad Brown, he's 33%. Brian Lynch is 40%. Brad Cox, who has the horse that I like, is 43%.
43% at Tampa Bay. 43% at Tampa Bay. And
Yeah.
I see that what you said here, 2 back at Churchill, 1 in a field of 12, and 1 by 10 plus lengths. And he was pulled up towards the end. He was
Well,
he was
not pulled out. He was wrapped. He was not pulled
jogging.
Up. He was wrapped up.
Yeah,
The jockey was just letting him run. Wasn't asking. Impressive.
He was out for a light jog at that point. He's under wraps late.
Under wraps means it was just they knew it was over. I mean, if you watch that race, and that was a big field, Sean. There was 12 horses in that race. And the other thing was the last time out, he had again one of the best jockeys there is, Flavien Prat, on him. He bobbled a little at the start and sort of lost his place of where he wanted to be. He made a move too soon and just flattened out at the end and was not able to really sustain his effort to get to the wire. So I put a line through that race. If he, and he has, he ran 7 furlongs last out and won by 10 lengths. But, this is a mile and 16th. But in this race, he has the best Tomlinson speed figure out of Into Mischief, Sire, and Well Humored Dam, distorted humor in his bloodlines. He's got a lot of reasons why you should like him. So I think the fact that he didn't have such a good race last time out is going to give the bettors a reason to look away from him. And I hope they do, because I think, again, the 7 post gives him a nice way to look at how the race is going to be run. There is a little bit of speed in here with the 4-horse Brodeur, ridden by Jose Ortiz, is going to definitely get out and try and go for the lead. There's another speed horse in there who's stretching out. The 1 horse not really stretching out, but he's a speed horse. He ran a mile 16th last out. Owen Almighty has some speed. So
that's a Spadestown horse right there.
Horse, so we often used to love
Bayern.
Loved him when he first sired horses. We never let any horse that was first out by Spadestown run without us jumping on it, right, Sean?
Yeah, that's correct. Anytime you saw that Spadestown first out, boom, we're all over that.
And it did well. But listen, that's my bet in this race. I really like that horse, Patch Adams. I think he's going to run well. I'm interested to see how he looks on the track. He has raced at some other quality racetracks. Gulfstream Park is certainly a quality racetrack, but he raced at Keeneland, he raced at Churchill Downs, and he raced at Oaklawn Park. And so you're going to get great horses. He raced in the Grade 3 Southwest, where Speed King and Sandman and Tistastic were 1, 2, and 3. And he ran 4 against them, even though he came out of that race and had a little trouble at the start. So, that's what I like. And that's what I like that's on the screen right now. St. Patrick's Day Parade this Saturday, March 8th, coming down Mercer Street and going down Nottingham Way. If you get a chance to stop out, please do so. It's a great time, a great day, a lot of fun. You're going to see some great people walking in the parade. You're going to hear some great music, and you're going to have a good time. So, Sean, thank you so much for putting that up. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and just I know you're going to be at the parade on the weekend. When can
9 a.m. Saturday?
What time? Mike?
Now I got to be. The parade kicks off at 1, but the marshals get there at 9 a.m. and we have a meeting at Nottingham Tavern at 9 a.m. to discuss all the goings on of what's happening that day and be sure that the logistical situation is in place, and that is handled, as I said, by the ultra talented Mr. Tom Beers. Give him a lot of credit and shout out for taking care of all these marshals in this parade.
All right, so 9 a.m. at Nottingham Tavern, and then there's the parade.
That's the meeting for the marshals.
So I would hope that people can expect your picks sometime before they go off, because I'm not sure by the time 3 o'clock rolls around here that there's probably, Nottingham Tavern, 9 a.m., the parade. There could be, it's St. Patrick's Day parade. There could be a few drinks. We'll just say the small, we'll just say the quiet part out loud. So when can they expect to see your picks? Will you post them Friday night on the X?
No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till the scratches, and the best place to look for my picks will be on X, on Twitter. I will make some adjustments based on the scratches that are made on Saturday morning, and particularly looking at the stakes race at Tampa Bay and the stakes race at Gulfstream Park. You can be certain that if there are any selections that stand out because of the scratches, that in spite of the meetings that will be going on that morning and the preparation for the wonderful St. Patrick's Day parade, my picks will be up, and they will be very, very relative to what is going to be happening after the scratches are made, Sean.
All right. That's good to hear. I'm going to be, at home for that day, and because you try to drive over there, and it's a disaster trying to get from where I live. Trying to get from where I lived over there, you can't really park in. But I will be betting on a few of these races, I believe.
Good. Hope so.
The one that I like, I think the best is the I'm going to take a little shot with that 30-1 horse, and hope maybe finishes in the show.
And the money.
Finishes in the money, finishes beyond belief. And hey, listen, maybe Armillo runs to the front and holds on for second, something like that. And you can maybe you put a little across the board, maybe. But some
people will just make a bet. They'll put $5 across the board on he'll be probably 40 or 50-1. Maybe
I did that.
We'll see.
I did that one time. Where were we? I think we were at Parks. I did that one time. And it was a 62. I don't know if it was Tar Heel. It wasn't Tar Heel Mom. I won that upset. It was it was something with a name that I saw, and it was 62-1, and it came in. I think I finished. I had it across the board. I think
the horse wasn't called.
I forget.
The horse wasn't called the Genius, was it?
No. I forget. It was something like, it might have been Tar Heel Mom, but something like it was something like that. I know Tar Heel Mom. We won big.
I know.
We won big.
Hunch bets win all the time. People love hunch bets. There was a horse. I was looking for a horse that had any kind of Irish name in it for Saturday. Irish Almighty or Irish Aces ran last week. I was hoping that there was going to be any kind of reference to an Irish horse in these races at Gulfstream Park. There's not. If I start reviewing some other races Saturday, if I see a horse that has any kind of Irish in it, you'll be sure that will be discussed at the Hybos, which is where the happening is after the parade. So hopefully anybody who's in the neighborhood of Mercer County, Hamilton Township, stop by the Hybos, say hi to me, talk to me about horse racing. And we want to thank everyone for watching. And Sean will have the write-up basically covering the things we discussed today on Rant Sports. Correct, Sean?
Yeah, it'll be up. It'll probably be up a live first thing tomorrow morning. That's
perfect. That's perfect, Sean. Perfect.
Definitely.
Well, listen, once again, Sean, I want to thank you for staying up here tonight and running this show. I think it was a great show. I appreciate you doing it. We will talk more tomorrow and definitely on Saturday. All right, my brother?
All right. I'll talk to you. Thanks for watching.
All right. Thank you, Sean.